Welcome to Logan's Comics, where legends are forged in chaos and every battle echoes through Marvel's history. Today, we unravel the brutal, unbreakable tale of the man who could become anything he touched, the unstoppable, absorbing man. Before the hammer of gods or the fists of Hulk struck fear into hearts, there was Carl Crusher Creel, a man who turned prison bars into power and rose from the gutters to stand against gods themselves. Carl wasn't born a monster, he was built by hardship. A boxer turned thug fighting in back alley rings for scraps of fame. But fate had a darker prize waiting for him. Locked away for his crimes, Creel's life changed forever when Loki, the god of mischief, sought a pawn strong enough to challenge his brother, Thor. In a single fateful moment from Journey into Mystery 114, 1965, Loki slipped a potion into Creel's drink, giving him a gift or a curse beyond imagination. When he awoke, his skin shimmered with power. He touched the steel bars of his cell, and his body became steel itself. Thus, the absorbing man was born, a human weapon capable of becoming anything he touched. Metal, rock, water, even Uru, the divine metal of Thor's hammer. But Creel wasn't just a brute. Beneath his criminal swagger burned a fierce will to survive. Every fight he entered wasn't just for domination, it was a cry for respect from a world that had written him off. In the Incredible Hulk 125, 1970, Creel went toe-to-toe with the Jade Giant, trading blows that shattered mountains. Each time Hulk struck him, Creel absorbed his power, growing stronger, more unstoppable, until even Hulk's rage couldn't overpower him. Yet his downfall was never strength, it was ego. His hunger for dominance always blinded him to strategy, leaving him crushed beneath the very power he sought to master. Through the decades, Creel evolved from a mere villain into one of Marvel's most complex antiheroes. In Immortal Hulk 8, 2018, Al Ewing redefined him, showing a broken man who had suffered, who wanted redemption but didn't know how to ask for it. Creel wasn't just absorbing elements anymore, he was absorbing his own pain, his memories, the guilt of every life he'd taken. He found love in one of Marvel's most unlikely romances, with the ferocious Titania. Two villains, both scarred by life, bound not by evil but by understanding. Their love wasn't pretty, it was raw, violent, and real. Together, they formed a power couple that could rival any of Marvel's great duos, yet the world never let him forget what he was. The absorbing man was always caught between two truths, the monster the world saw and the man he wanted to be. In Fear Itself 2, 2011, Creel's strength reached divine levels. Chosen by the serpent, the god of fear, he was granted an enchanted hammer, transforming him into Greethoth, breaker of wills. For the first time, he wasn't just absorbing power, he was embodying destruction itself. Cities trembled, heroes fell, and the absorbing man became a literal force of nature. But even gods fall. When the serpent was defeated, Creel was left stripped of that divine energy, once again staring at the man in the mirror, half villain, half survivor. Later, in Immortal Hulk 40, 2020, Creel faced something worse than death, himself. The Hulk forced him to confront the truth that no matter what he turned into, he could never escape who he was. Metal, rock, diamond, even energy, it didn't matter. Inside, Carl Creel was still human, and that terrified him. That moment wasn't just about strength, it was about identity. About how a man who could become anything struggled to figure out who he really was, and that's what makes the absorbing man unforgettable. He's not just a villain who fights gods, he's a man who became his own metaphor. His powers reflect the human condition. We absorb pain, we adapt to survive, and sometimes we become hardened by the very things that try to destroy us. Carl Creel's story isn't one of heroism or evil, it's a story of endurance. Of a man who clawed his way out of insignificance to stand toe-to-toe with the Avengers, Thor, and even the Hulk. A man cursed to take on the world's strength, but never its peace. So the next time you see Thor raise Mjolnir, remember the man who once held that same power in his hands, the man who turned from flesh to god steel and back again. Because in the world of Marvel, gods may create legends. But men like Carl Creel become them. And that's the story of the absorbing man, the indestructible soul of Marvel's greatest brawler. Subscribe to Logan's Comics, where we don't just tell stories, we forge legends.